Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Robin Rants, with another rant. Click the like button, subscribe. This rant is going to be about my opinion on why LeBron James never did the slam dunk contest. So, listen, it's been one of those things that I feel that it's deeper. There's a deeper issue there with LeBron as to why he never did the slam dunk competition. And it's part of who he is. It's part of his, mental makeup. And the reason that he never did the slam dunk contest after everybody, all his fans, everybody wanted him to do the slam dunk contest. People basically begging him to do it. Oh, we want you to do it. And then him, always playing these games. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. He's always teased his fans about doing the slam dunk contest. And it's really a shame. It really is because, a player of his caliber, he should have done it. Like I said, he should have did the slam dunk contest years ago. In his first couple of years in the league. But the fact that he didn't do it, it speaks to something, greater than him just, not wanting to do it just for the fact of not doing it. And I believe that the reason he never did the slam dunk contest was because it was a couple of reasons. One, I think that he was worried that he would lose the competition, right, the contest. So that would have been an embarrassment for him. I think that's what it is. One, and then two, it's because he doesn't have any creativity or originality. LeBron James has zero creativity and zero originality. Zero. And this is not a knock video on LeBron. This is not not knocking him. He's a great player. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron is an all-time great. He's had a great career. This is not a bash piece. This is something that I've noticed over the years with LeBron and his mental makeup and how he is in certain situations. And what I believe his his worst fear is failure. He's scared to fail, and that's the reason why at the end of games he makes these weird decisions sometimes, and people always stand back and they're like, why did he pass the ball to George Hill at the end of game one in the 2018 NBA Finals when you were balling out with 50 plus points, but at the end of the game for the last shot you passed to George Hill? George Hill. It ain't like you're passing to a Kyrie Irving, or you are passing to a Dwayne Wade or somebody that's on your level, or or comparable. You pass it to a bench player, or George Hill, who never had been in a position like that before. You put him in that position. You put him in a position to fail. You didn't put him in a position to be successful. It was a late pass off, right? And he's done this his whole career. Whether you want to point out the shot that he passed up in the 2017 NBA Finals in Game 3 of that series, where LeBron was driving the lane and had a chance I believe the Cavaliers had a 2-point lead, I believe, and LeBron was driving the basketball, and all he had to do was continue his path to the basket like he always does, right? He plays bully ball, but at the end of games and late in situations, the bully ball goes away and he gets nervous. So what did he do in that game 3 scenario at the end of the game of game 3 in 2017? He passed it out to Kyle Korver. Now, people want to sit there, and I've heard people defend that because I've talked about that before on Instagram, and people would come at me and be like, oh, he passed to Kyle Korver. What's wrong with that? Kyle Korver is a great shooter, blah, blah, blah. How many times Kyle Korver hit a big-time shot in his career in the NBA Finals? How many times Kyle Korver hit a big-time shot in any game? Can you think of, off the top of your head? Think about that. This is what I'm talking about. He puts his people in these positions to not be successful, right? So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about he's scared to fail. He is scared to fail. He's scared to go into that position, take the foul, go to the free throw line, and hit the free throws. He's scared because he's scared of the failure. Whereas other great players, they thrive under that kind of intense pressure. Or what they do is they're not worried about failing, so they just go out there and do what they would normally do anyway. Like, yeah, maybe they wouldn't make the shot at the end of the game and they lose the game, but they're not worried about that moment. They're not scared to lose that game or lose that moment, or have that failure and have people point the finger at them, or people scrutinize him. That's LeBron's problem. LeBron wants to be liked by everybody. LeBron wants to be, set up all the time for be successful. He never wants to be a failure or be in a position where he could fail. So he avoids all those situations, and that's what I just pointed out. So when we talk about the fear of failure, and then we talk about the slam dunk contest, and then we go to something like I just said, creativity and originality. LeBron is not creative. He's not creative. You tell me one thing that LeBron's done that's creative. He doesn't have any moves, right? He doesn't have any moves on the basketball court that you would say, oh, that's a creative move or that's his patented go-to move. I mean, a lot of all-time great players have had go-to moves, during the course of their careers. Maybe they didn't, weren't the first person to use that move or to patent it, per se, but they had go-to moves that they used in certain times of games if they needed a basket or whatever the case may be. Maybe they were in a funk or a slump or whatever. They go to their spots on the floor. LeBron doesn't really have any spots on the floor per se or a go-to move. Like, what does he do? He puts his head down, he puts his shoulder down, and he uses that off arm, and he drives through people. That's basically his go-to move, driving the basket. He doesn't have any post game, which is crazy for a man his size who's been in the league as long as he. I mean, think about it. This dude's been in the league for 20 years and never developed a go-to move with any consistency. When you think about guys like a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, obviously with the sky hook. You think of a guy like a Michael Jordan with his pant. I mean, Michael Jordan had a bunch of moves, a bunch of go-to moves, but everybody knows that his patented move was his turnaround fadeaway jumper. Kobe had a different kind of fadeaway jumper, was a little bit different than Jordan's or whatever, but he had, like I said, he had go-to moves, that he can do at any time that he needed to. These guys can go in their bag and use these moves. You talk about guys like an Allen Iverson, obviously with his crossover. Tim Harden with a crossover to a certain degree. Just like I said, just all these players, they've had these kind of go-to moves when they needed something. And I feel like I said, LeBron's creativity, he never really had a creativity because the evidence is there. And what evidence am I talking about when it pertains to creativity? I'm talking about things like wearing number 23 to be like Jordan, right? That's not creative. That's not original. You're copying off of Jordan. And listen, it's great to want to be like Michael Jordan. I wanted to be like Michael Jordan. Everybody wanted to be like Michael Jordan. I would still love to be Michael Jordan. He's one of the greatest athletes in this history of the world. But at the same time, to try to wear the same number as Jordan, and then at the same time try to be better than Jordan or to try to eclipse Jordan, it's almost like an oxymoron. You should have been more original to have your own number, so people can look at you down the road and be like, hey, that dude who wore number 15 or that dude who wore 20 or whatever number, you decide to pick, that's your number. 23 is always going to be Jordan's number. That's the thing. It's never going to be LeBron's number. He can wear 23, and try to, do all these things, but it's never going to be his number. When people see the number 23, they're immediately going to think of Michael Jordan. It doesn't matter. And that's where the originality comes in, right? You're not original. Also, when it pertains to the originality and the creativity, the chalk toss in the pregame, rituals and stuff like that. Who started the chalk tossing, right? Come on, man. LeBron is doing the same chalk toss Michael Jordan was doing. So once again, you're copying something that Jordan did, that he kind of made his own thing. Now you're doing it to be like him. Now, yeah, there's might be nuances to it, little differences here and there, but you still got that from him, And then you talk about when we go back and talk about the slam dunk contest, you have to look at when you think about the slam dunk contest. Back in the 80s and the 90s, the early 2000s, when the slam dunk contest was really at its height, at its peak, it was because you had, all stars in the slam dunk contest. It wasn't these also guys, these bench players that you get now. You'll get guys like guys like a Nate Robinson, or this other guy who won the contest. Can't remember his name, but they're not starters. They're not all stars. These guys are not on the all-star teams. They're just guys that maybe have some dunking abilities or whatever. So it's not the same though when you're watching a guy who is maybe a bench player or not a big time or an all star go into a slam dunk competition. Listen, if you watch Michael Jordan do a regular dunk, right, and then you see some other guy do a regular dunk, it's going to be more impressive when Michael Jordan does it, or if a LeBron James does it, or if a Kobe Bryant does it, or if a Tracy McGrady does it, or a Dominique Wilkins does it, one of those kinds. It's more impressive when they do it because they're stars, they're popular. You want to see them do these things. If you're getting a bench player, coming in, you know, to a slam dunk contest, first of all, you may not even know who this guy is. You're like, I've never seen this guy, heard of this guy. How is he in a slam dunk contest? You know, that goes to to show what the slam dunk contest has become over the years. And unfortunately for LeBron James, he never did the competition for whatever reason. Like I said, I think it's because he was scared. He should have done it, man. And I think that's a black guy in his career. People don't talk about it, but I think that's a black guy in his career that he never did the slam dunk competition because, like I said, it speaks to his mentality and his fear of failure and his, his fear that he knows he wouldn't have been able to win or come up with any kind of creativity dunk. I mean, think. When have you seen LeBron do a cool dunk in games? It's rare that you see him do anything besides that cockback dunk he has. And that cockback dunk is whack, yo. That LeBron James cockback dunk is whack. You can say whatever you want. Yeah, maybe he might get up high and he might throw it down hard, but it's whack though. Like the optics of it, the beauty of there's no beauty in that, man. I've seen plenty other people do regular dunks that just looked better. Like I said, there's zero creativity to that dunk, man. It's just not pretty. Michael Jordan, had the patented leaner dunk, which he would lean sideways, almost kiss the rim, and throw it down. That was like his patented, dunk. But if you watch Michael Jordan games, Michael Jordan had several different kinds of dunks that he would do in games, in-game dunks. The backwards dunk, the two-handed, tomahawk jam. He'd have the one-handed cockback jam that he would have. He had the one where he would come in with one hand and have it in one hand and go off one leg, boom, and have the leg split. It was just beautiful to watch. See, that's the thing about Michael Jordan. When you watch his slam dunk contest, it's not necessarily the difficulty of the dunks he's doing. It's the way he looks when he's doing the dunks. That's how Michael Jordan won those contests. It wasn't about him throwing down and being with so much force and throwing it down hard, and it was the beauty that he moved through the air with that people have not been able to duplicate. Nobody, not a Vince Carter, nobody looked as beautiful in the air as Michael Jordan did in those slam dunk contests. Nobody. Now, yeah, people say, there are better dunkers. People think Vince Carter's the greatest dunker of all time. And I'm not here to argue who's the greatest dunker of all time. But no one looked more beautiful than Michael Jordan when he was floating through the air. No one did. So back to the LeBron and the zero creativity. If I pointed out a couple of things already about the originality, that he is not original at all. He doesn't do anything. And the creativity is not there either. And that's the reason why I believe he never did the slam dunk contest. All these years later, people talk about his longevity and his athleticism. Why wouldn't he have displayed that? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like I said, it speaks to his mentality and the fact that he was scared to fail. And he didn't want to be exposed out there at the All-Star game in the slam dunk competition where everybody's watching and you can't come up with anything creative or anything aesthetically pleasing to win a competition. So that's why he didn't do it. Now, before I end this video, I'm going to make one more point or I'm going to prove the point to what I'm saying about mentalities and how it affects you as far as you putting yourself out there. A lot of people don't realize, but Michael Jordan attempted participated in a three-point contest. I believe it was in his, I don't know, maybe third or fourth season in the league. I can't remember. But he participated in a three-point contest. Michael Jordan participated in the NBA All-Star game three-point contest. Does anybody ever think that Michael Jordan is a great three-point shooter or that Michael Jordan is a three-point shooter, period? Like I said, this was the beginning of his career in the 80s where the three-point shooting wasn't like that. So it wasn't something that he was practicing regularly or was a normal part of the game. And he's like, let me throw my hat in the ring and try it out. But that's the mentality. Michael Jordan wasn't worried about how he looked out there or getting embarrassed, quote unquote embarrassed, or quote unquote losing, or being a quote unquote failure. He participated in the three-point contest because his mentality is such that he didn't care if he failed or he was embarrassed, quote unquote. There's no embarrassment for him. There's no failure to him. Failure to him is just another step in his progression. It's not holding him back. It's helping him elevate. That's how people like that look at failure, right? Successful people look at failure as just another step in their journey. So whereas a LeBron James would look at failure like, oh my God, this is going to decimate me. I don't want to have that failure. It's too hard for them to go through it. So they avoid the hard roads or they avoid putting themselves out there. They stay in their comfort zone. That's why LeBron stacks the deck with all these teams since 2010. It's because of that mentality and that fear of failing that he has to consistently put himself in the best position to look the best. So Michael Jordan put himself out there, did 3 point contest, failed miserably at it, did terribly in the 3 point contest, right? He didn't win. You don't even hear about it though. But LeBron James was scared to do a slam dunk contest when he does slam dunks consistently in games, and he's done them consistently throughout his career. So it all comes back to mentality, and that's the biggest problem with LeBron. Is his mentality. So I appreciate you guys watching my video. Click the like button, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts about that, your opinions. I'm telling you right now, that's why he never did it, man. LeBron James, zero creativity, zero originality, scared of failure.